Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Patrick Duffy, and I'm the founder of Global Fashion Exchange. And I'm excited to be chatting with you today about a topic that I'm extremely passionate about, which is about redefining consumption for the fashion industry. So let's just dive right in. First of all, what is consumption? I'm sure many of us have heard that word before, but let's define it. Consumption in the fashion industry refers to the process of acquiring, using, and disposing of clothing and accessories. It encompasses a wide range of activities, from purchasing new garments to renting, borrowing, or swapping clothes, and also from repairing and maintaining clothes to discarding them. Consumption is a super complex and multifaceted phenomenon that is influenced by a variety of factors, including personal preferences, social trends, and economic conditions. The different ways we consume fashion can be categorized into three main types. Purchasing new garments. This is the most common form of fashion consumption, and it involves buying new clothes from retail stores, online retailers, or directly from designers. Swapping, renting, or borrowing clothes. This is a more sustainable way to consume fashion as it reduces the demand for new clothing production. Renting or borrowing clothes can be done through various platforms, such as online rental services, peer-to-peer rental apps, and clothing swap events like the ones I love to do. Repairing, maintaining, and upcycling clothes. This involves extending the lifespan of existing clothes by repairing them, mending tears, and transforming them into new garments, which I'm sure many of you have done before. This approach reduces the need for clothing purchases and minimizes waste. Some of you might be asking the question about why do we need to consume? Well, it contributes to economic growth. Consumption is an essential driver of economic growth. When consumers purchase goods and services, they stimulate businesses to produce more, which leads to job creation and increased economic activity. In the fashion industry, consumption plays a vital role in supporting the livelihoods of millions of people around the world. How did we get here, and why do we consume so much? Unfortunately, our current patterns of consumption are extremely unsustainable. The fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world, responsible for a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions, water usage, and textile waste. This is largely due to our tendency to overconsume, driven by factors like fast fashion and a culture of disposability. The rise of fast fashion has revolutionized the way we consume clothing, with ultra-low prices, super trendy designs, and constantly new arrivals. Fast fashion brands have made it easier than ever to keep up with the latest trends. However, this convenience comes at a significant cost. The rapid pace of fashion trends encourages consumers to discard clothing more frequently, leading to a culture of disposability. Clothes are often worn for just a few occasions or even once before being thrown away, contributing to an alarming amount of textile waste. This waste ends up in landfills, where it decomposes slowly, if at all, releasing harmful methane gas into the atmosphere. The affordability of fast fashion items further exacerbates the problem. Cheap prices make it tempting to buy more clothes, even if we don't really need them. The cycle of buying, wearing, and discarding clothes has become deeply ingrained into our consumer culture. The constant stream of fashion trends, social media, and advertising play a powerful role in fueling our desire for new clothing. We are constantly bombarded with images of celebrities, models, and influencers wearing the latest fashion trends. These images create a sense of aspiration and dissatisfaction with our own wardrobes, making us feel like we need to constantly update our style. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok are particularly effective at promoting fast fashion trends. These platforms provide a highly visual and interactive environment where trends can spread quickly and reach a wide audience. Influencers, who often have millions, if not hundreds of millions of followers, are paid to promote fast fashion brands, further perpetuating the cycle of consumption. Perhaps one of the most important pieces of the conversation is about materialism and consumerism and the pursuit of happiness through possessions. Our society's emphasis on material possession and the pursuit of happiness through consumption has contributed significantly to a culture of overconsumption. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we need to buy more to be happy, and that happiness can be achieved through acquiring new things. This mindset has a profound impact on our relationship with clothing. We often view our clothes as a way to express identity through social status, and we may feel pressure to keep up with the latest trends in order to fit in. This can lead to a cycle of buying and discarding clothes, even if we don't really like them. Changing our consumption habits and reducing our reliance on fast fashion will require a shift in our mindset. We need to move away from viewing clothing as a disposable commodity and start valuing quality, durability, sustainability, and people. We also need to change the notion that happiness can be achieved through material possessions and focus on finding our happiness from within. Consumption in the fashion industry extends beyond environmental damage. It also leads to exploitation of labor. The demand for cheap clothing often results in the exploitation of workers in developing countries who are subjected to long hours, low wages, and unsafe working conditions. The dark side of the fashion industry lies in the exploitation of labor in developing countries. To keep prices low, brands often outsource production to factories in countries with lax labor laws and low wages. Workers in these factories are often subjected to long hours. Workers might be forced to work 12, 16, even 18 hours a day or no overtime pay. They're subject to low wages. Wages are often below the minimum wage and insufficient to support a decent living. They're subject to unsafe working conditions. Factories may be overcrowded, poorly ventilated, and lack of basic safety equipment, putting workers at risk for accidents, injuries, and more. They're also subject to child labor. In some cases, children are illegally employed in garment factories, putting their health and education at risk. Another byproduct of overproduction is resource depletion. The production of textiles requires vast amount of natural resources such as water, land, and energy, which are being depleted at an alarming rate. The production of textiles has a significant impact on the environment, consuming vast amount of natural resources. For example, water consumption. Cotton cultivation is a water-intensive process requiring 2,700 liters of water to produce just 1 kilogram of cotton. Land use. Cotton farming requires large areas of land, leading to deforestation and other habitat loss. Energy consumption. The production of textiles involves energy-intensive processes like spinning, weaving, dyeing, and more. The fashion industry's reliance on these resources is putting a strain on the environment and contributing significantly to climate change. Last but not least, waste generation. The fashion industry generates a massive amount of textile waste, which ends up in landfills and pollutes waterways. The fashion industry is a major contributor to textile waste. With the rapid pace of fashion trends and culture of disposability, millions of tons of clothing end up in landfills each year. Landfill waste. Textile waste in landfills decomposes slowly, releasing harmful methane gas into the atmosphere. Water pollution. Textile waste can release harmful chemicals into waterways, polluting drinking water and harming ecosystems. Microplastic pollution. Synthetic clothing breaks down into microplastic, which enter food chain and can pose a huge threat to marine and human life. The fashion industry's waste problem is a significant environmental challenge that requires urgent action. Support sustainable brands as much as possible. Choose brands with ethical practices. As consumers, we have the power to influence the fashion industry by supporting brands that align with our values. Choose brands that are committed to sustainable practices, using eco-friendly materials, implementing ethical label practices, and adopting circular economy principles. Look for brands that are transparent about their supply chain and manufacturing processes, and those that have certifications or accreditations from organizations like Fair Trade or Global Organic Textile Standard. By supporting brands that prioritize sustainability, you're sending a message that you value the environment and the well-being of those who make your clothes. Extend the life of your clothes. Instead of discarding clothes that are slightly damaged or outdated, consider extending their lifespan by repairing, mending, upcycling, or swapping them. Simple repairs like replacing buttons or sewing up tears can make a big difference in extending the life of a garment. For more creative transformations, consider upcycling old clothes into new pieces. With a bit of imagination, you can turn a worn-out shirt into a stylish skirt or a scarf, or a pair of old jeans into a trendy top or tote bag. By giving your clothes a new lease on life, you're reducing waste and adding a touch of personality to your wardrobe. And don't forget to swap. They're my favorite things to do on the planet. And you'll make some new friends along the way. Last but not least, embrace secondhand shopping. Secondhand shopping offers a sustainable and affordable way to refresh your wardrobe. Thrift stores, consignment shops, and online platforms like eBay and Depop are treasure troves for pre-loved clothing waiting for a second chance. With a keen eye and a bit of patience, you can find a unique, stylish piece that reflects your personal style without contributing to the fast fashion cycle. Secondhand shopping not only reduces your environmental impact, but allows you to express your individuality at a fraction of the cost. And now for fashion companies. What can they do to help the issue of overproduction and consumption? Well, first of all, design for longevity. They can create garments that are made to last. Transitioning from a culture of disposability to one of sustainability requires a fundamental shift in fashion design. Instead of prioritizing fleeting trends and low prices, designers and companies should focus on creating garments that are built to last. This involves using durable, high-quality materials that can withstand wear and tear, as well as employing timeless designs that transcend fleeting brands. By creating clothes that are meant to be cherished and worn for years to come, fashion designers can play a crucial role in reducing the industry's environmental impact and promoting a more sustainable approach to consumption. They can also embrace sustainable materials. Transition to eco-friendly alternatives is a very important piece. The fashion industry's reliance on conventional materials like cotton and polyester has a significant environmental consequence, including water consumption, land use, and pollution, as noted before. To mitigate these impacts, fashion brands should embrace sustainable alternatives such as organic cotton, recycled polyester, and tencel or dead stock. These materials are produced with lower environmental impact and offer similar performance to conventional materials, providing consumers with eco-friendly options without compromising on quality or style. Fashion companies should also adopt circular economy practices to reduce waste and promote resource efficiency. The concept of circular economy emphasizes the importance of resource efficiency and waste reduction. In the context of fashion, this translates into implementing systems of reuse, recycle, and upcycle for textiles. Brands can incorporate take-back programs where consumers can return used garments, enabling the materials to be repurposed, broken down, or turned into new products. Additionally, fostering innovation in textile recycling technologies can further reduce the industry's reliance on virgin materials. Fashion companies should also promote ethical labor practices to ensure fair wages, safe working conditions, and transparency. The fashion industry's global supply chain often involves workers in developing countries where labor practices can be questionable. To address the issue, fashion brands must commit to ethical labor practices, ensuring fair wages, safe working conditions, and transparency throughout their supply chains. This includes independent audits of factories, establishing clear guidelines for labor practices, and providing workers with opportunities for training and advancement. And last but certainly not least, it's important for fashion companies to educate consumers, to raise awareness and encourage sustainable habits. Consumer awareness and education play a critical role in driving sustainable practices within the fashion industry. Brands can utilize their platform to educate consumers about the environmental and social impact of their purchasing decisions, highlighting the benefits of sustainable fashion choices. Additionally, collaborations with influencers and organizations can amplify these messages, reaching a wider audience and encouraging consumers to adopt more sustainable habits. By implementing these strategies, fashion brands can make a significant contribution to redefining consumption in the industry, reducing its environmental footprint, and promoting ethical practices. By prioritizing sustainability and educating consumers, the fashion industry can move forward towards a more responsible and mindful future. And by changing our consumption habits and supporting sustainable fashion practices, we can collectively reduce the negative impact of the fashion industry and move towards a more sustainable and ethical future of fashion. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in Moldova very soon.